The Council's decision. The Grand Assembly Hall of the Galactic Confederation stretched impossibly high, its crystalline dome capturing the light of 3 suns and casting rainbow patterns across the gathered representatives of over 200 species. The atmosphere was charged with anticipation, a low hum of conversation bouncing off polished obsidian walls as delegates from across the known universe settled into their assigned sectors. Today was no ordinary session. Today, they would decide the fate of a backwater world in the unfashionable western spiral arm of the Milky Way, a planet called Earth. First speaker Zovax, a towering insectoid with iridescent carapace and compound eyes that reflected the hall in hundreds of fractured images, raised his primary limbs for silence. The assembly quieted immediately. Representatives of the Galactic Confederation, his voice resonated through translation fields. We convene today for assessment case #4721b. Earth. The evaluation committee has completed its century-long observation and submitted their findings. On the massive holoscreen behind him, images of Earth appeared. Blue oceans, green continents, sprawling cities, and humans going about their daily lives, oblivious to the scrutiny from above. As is our ancient right and responsibility, Zovax continued, we shall vote on Earth's status and determine whether these, humans, deserve autonomy or subjugation. In the lowest tier of the assembly, a single human stood alone in the delegation circle. Ambassador Michael Chen wore a simple gray suit with Earth's planetary insignia, a blue globe with stylized white olive branches. His expression remained neutral, his posture relaxed yet dignified. Zovax gestured toward a slender serpentine creature whose scales shifted colors with every movement. Assessment Director Sleth will present the committee's findings. Director Sleth's holographic avatar enlarged as she began her presentation. Esteemed colleagues, our observation of Earth has been thorough. Humans have achieved rudimentary space travel, but remain confined primarily to their own planet and its single moon. Their technology is crude by Confederation standards. They still rely on combustion engines, silicon-based computing, and have only theorized about practical applications of quantum mechanics. Murmurs of amusement rippled through the assembly. Militarily, they are fragmented into nation-states with primitive nuclear weapons and conventional armies. They have never faced a unified external threat and have no meaningful defense against advanced species. Ambassador Chen's expression remained unchanged. Culturally, they are extraordinarily diverse, but prone to tribalism and conflict. They have waged nearly continuous warfare throughout their recorded history. The serpentine director's scales flushed deep crimson. However, I must note some concerning attributes. Humans demonstrate remarkable adaptability and ingenuity. When pressed, they advance technologically at rates that exceed standard developmental curves. They possess unusual psychological resilience and a confounding ability to unify against perceived common threats. A 4-armed representative from the mineral-based Tholian compact rose. Are you suggesting these primitives pose any actual threat to advanced civilizations? Not presently, Director Sleth replied, but their potential trajectory is unpredictable. Unpredictable is merely another word for not thoroughly analyzed, rumbled Supreme Warlord Krugnar of the Drangian Empire, his massive form casting a shadow over neighboring delegates. I've reviewed the military assessment. Their most advanced warships would not withstand even our obsolete defensive systems. Ambassador Chen's gaze shifted slightly toward the warlord, but he remained silent. Their resources, however, interjected Trade Minister Quiplix of the Mercantile League, their translucent body pulsing with bioluminescent patterns, are exceptionally diverse. Rare metals, biological diversity, substantial water reserves, not to mention the humans themselves would make excellent labor stock. Their neuroplasticity suggests they would adapt well to servitude. Now a low, hungry murmur spread through the hall. The Confederation had expanded through millennia by identifying, evaluating, and appropriating worlds with valuable resources. Some species were deemed worthy of membership, others were classified as resources themselves. The humans have sent only this single representative, noted Elder Morov of the Arcturian technocracy, her ancient eyes focusing on Chen. They must suspect our purpose, yet they make no preparations for defense. Either profoundly naive or... She paused, concealing something. Ambassador Chen stepped forward slightly, indicating his desire to speak. First Speaker Jovax hesitated, then nodded. Esteemed representatives of the Galactic Confederation, Chen began, his voice calm and measured. I thank you for your thorough assessment of Earth. We are indeed young by your standards. We have much to learn. Earth would welcome peaceful exchange of knowledge, cultural understanding, and mutually beneficial trade relations. His words were reasonable, diplomatic, yet something about his demeanor caused several delegates to shift uncomfortably. However, Chen continued, maintaining the same pleasant tone. I must correct a fundamental misunderstanding. You believe Earth is unprepared for contact with advanced civilizations. This is incorrect. We have been aware of your observation for decades. We have prepared accordingly. Laughter erupted from several delegations. War Chief Grax of the Cronin Imperium nearly fell from his perch. Prepared? With what? Your combustion engines and silicon chips. Chen smiled slightly. I respectfully request that you reconsider any plans for forced subjugation. Earth wishes to join the galactic community as equals, not subjects. Brave words from a species that can barely reach its own moon, sneered Admiral Pex of the Dravid Coalition. First Speaker Jovax raised his limbs again. The human statement has been noted. As per Confederation protocol, we shall now proceed to the vote. The options are as follows. Category 1. Full autonomy with provisional membership. Category 2. Supervised development with limited autonomy. Category 3. Resource world classification with managed extraction. Category 4. Full subjugation. Ambassador Chen's expression darkened almost imperceptibly. Representatives will now cast their votes, Jovax announced. The massive holoscreen behind him displayed a real-time tally as votes poured in from across the assembly. Within moments, a clear consensus emerged. Not a single vote for Categories 1 or 2, a handful for Category 3, an overwhelming majority for Category 4, full subjugation. Earth would be conquered, its people enslaved, its resources stripped. First Speaker Jovax turned to Ambassador Chen. The Confederation has decided. Earth is classified as a Category 4 world. Appropriation fleets will dispatch within one standard cycle. Do you wish to make a final statement for the record? The assembly hall fell silent, all eyes fixed on the lone human. Many expected pleas, perhaps tears. Some anticipated anger or defiance. Instead, Ambassador Chen nodded once, then spoke in that same measured tone. I understand your decision. Before I depart, I am authorized to deliver one final diplomatic communication. He touched a small device on his wrist. The holoscreen behind Jovax flickered, then displayed a simple message in the Confederation's universal script. We gave you a chance for peace. Remember that. A murmur of confusion rippled through the assembly. Is that a threat? Demanded Warlord Kroganar, rising to his full, intimidating height. From a Category 4 species, Chen smiled, a small, knowing smile that somehow sent a chill through the chamber. Not a threat, esteemed Warlord. A reminder for the historical record. Without another word, he turned and walked toward the exit, his footsteps echoing in the suddenly uncomfortable silence. As the doors closed behind the human ambassador, nervous laughter broke out across the hall. The mighty Confederation had nothing to fear from primitive Earth. Their appropriation fleets would arrive, humans would be subdued, and another resource-rich world would join their vast holdings. Yet something about Chen's calm demeanor and that simple message left an unsettling feeling that none would fully acknowledge. Aboard his modest shuttle, Ambassador Chen sat alone in the cockpit, eyes closed, breathing steadily. When they opened again, something had changed in them, a cold determination replacing diplomatic restraint. He activated a communication channel secured by technology the Confederation's sensors couldn't detect. "Protocol Thunderhead is now active," he said simply. They voted unanimously for Category 4. The response came immediately. "Understood, Ambassador. Awakening the fleet. Operation Silent Thunder commences in 36 hours." Chen gazed out at the glittering sprawl of the Confederation's orbital capital. Soon those lights would understand what humanity had been quietly preparing for generations. They had their chance, he whispered to himself. As his shuttle accelerated away from the capital, none of the Confederation's tracking systems detected the quantum burst transmission that raced ahead of him. Faster than light, carrying Earth's true response to the galaxy's fatal miscalculation. In hidden shipyards throughout the solar system, beneath the oceans, inside hollowed-out asteroids, and within the shielded heart of the moon, humanity's real technological achievements stirred to life. Weapons that defied conventional physics. Defenses that could withstand the hidden arsenal. Grand Admiral Vexcor stood on the command deck of the Indomitable, flagship of the Confederation's first appropriation fleet. Around him, crew members from 17 different species operated their stations with practiced efficiency. Through the massive viewport, the vast armada spread out before him. Over 3,000 warships representing the combined might of the galaxy's most powerful civilizations. "Status report," he commanded, his forearms clasped behind his back, secondary eyes scanning multiple holographic displays simultaneously. Fleet Commander Traz, a cybernetically enhanced humanoid with reflective skin, stepped forward. "The fleet is in perfect formation, Admiral. All systems optimal. We will reach Sol system in 6 hours." Vexcor nodded. "Casualties projection." "Minimal to none, sir. Our simulations predict Earth's military forces will collapse within 12 hours of initial engagement. Complete planetary control within 72 hours. The Admiral permitted himself a small smile. Category 4 appropriations are always so refreshingly straightforward. "Indeed, sir. Although..." Commander Traz hesitated. "Speak freely, Commander. I've reviewed the transcript from the Confederation hearing. The human ambassador's final message was unusual." Vexcor waved a dismissive limb. "Psychological operations, a desperate attempt to create uncertainty. Primitive species often resort to such tactics when faced with technologically superior forces. Of course, Admiral. Still, I've ordered additional scanning protocols. Standard precaution. Your thoroughness is commendable, Commander, if unnecessary. This is Earth we're discussing, not the Arcturus Collective." As the fleet surged through hyperspace toward the Sol system, similar conversations occurred throughout the Armada. Most dismissed Earth as an inconsequential target. Some studied the limited intelligence with greater care. A few noted peculiar anomalies in the observation data, unexplained energy readings, curious gaps in surveillance, occasional sensor malfunctions near Earth's polar regions. None suspected the truth. Deep beneath the Antarctic ice sheet, in a chamber larger than Manhattan, Fleet Marshal Helena Zhang stood before a holographic representation of Earth's solar system. Red markers indicated the approaching Confederation fleet. "Time to invasion," she asked. 5 hours, 43 minutes until they exit hyperspace, responded Strategic AI Nexus, its voice eerily human. Their entry point will be just beyond Mars' orbit, as predicted. Around her, the command center hummed with focused activity. Unlike the colorful diversity of the Confederation fleet, Earth's defense forces were uniformly human, though their enhancements were evident. Neural interfaces glowing softly at their temples, eyes occasionally shifting to display tactical overlays. "Is Ambassador Chen clear?" Zhang asked. "Yes, Marshal. His shuttle successfully diverted to Alpha Base on Titan. He'll observe from there." Zhang nodded. For 70 years, humanity had maintained the illusion of technological inferiority, while secretly preparing for this inevitable day. The Confederation's arrogance had made the deception almost too easy. "Activate Silent Thunder Protocol," she ordered. All units to final positions. Reveal nothing until they commit to engagement. Throughout the solar system, humanity's true defenses stirred. Within the moon, massive hangars opened. From beneath Earth's oceans, sleek vessels rose silently. In the asteroid belt, mining operations transformed into weapon platforms. Around Jupiter, stealth installations powered up electromagnetic fields capable of disrupting hyperspace corridors. Yet to all conventional sensors, Earth remained defenseless. A primitive world with rudimentary satellites and a handful of near-orbit stations. The perfect trap. 4 hours later, the Confederation fleet emerged from hyperspace in a spectacular display of light and energy. 3,000 ships arranged in perfect attack formation, from massive dreadnoughts to swarms of fighter carriers. On the Indomitable's command deck, Admiral Vexcor surveyed the Sol system with satisfaction. Commence standard intimidation protocol. Let them see their doom approaching. The fleet advanced slowly, deliberately, a psychological tactic used countless times on worlds about to be appropriated. Fear often led to surrender without resistance. "Sir," reported a sensor officer, "we're detecting unusual energy fluctuations throughout the system." Commander Traz frowned. "Source: uncertain. The readings are inconsistent with known technology." Vexcor's secondary eyes narrowed. "Scan again. It's likely atmospheric interference or solar activity." "Scanning, sir, but—" The officer froze, staring at his display. "Admiral, multiple objects accelerating from Earth's moon. Configuration unknown." The command deck erupted into activity as alarms sounded. "Impossible," Vexcor hissed. "Earth has no lunar bases capable of." "Admiral." Commander Traz's voice cut through the chaos. "The objects, they're ships. Hundreds of them. And they're moving at—" He paused, rechecking the data. 0.8 light speed in conventional space. That's beyond our fastest vessels. Vexcor's mandibles clicked in agitation. "Battle stations. All ships. Defensive formation Delta. Prepare to engage." But the lunar vessels weren't heading toward the Confederation fleet. Instead, they accelerated outward, taking positions throughout the solar system with impossible precision and speed. "Sir, more ships emerging from Earth's oceans," reported another officer, voice rising in pitch. "And the asteroid belt is moving." "Moving? Asteroids don't move in coordinated patterns," Vexcor snapped. Then he saw it on the main display. Thousands of asteroids shifting position, revealing embedded structures that pulsed with energy. Commander Traz's reflective skin had dulled to ash gray. "Admiral, I believe we've been deceived about Earth's technological capabilities." Before Vexcor could respond, a communication request flashed on his command console. The sender, Earth Defense Command. With a gesture of one limb, he accepted. The holographic image of Fleet Marshal Helena Zhang appeared before him, her uniform simple but immaculate, her expression calm and resolute. "Admiral Vexcor," she greeted him. "I am Fleet Marshal Zhang of the Earth Defense Force. Your fleet has entered sovereign human space without authorization. You are hereby ordered to withdraw immediately." Vexcor recovered his composure quickly. Despite the unexpected ships, he still commanded the most powerful armada in the galaxy. "Fleet Marshal," he replied with cold amusement, "the Galactic Confederation has classified Earth as a Category 4 world. Resistance is futile and will only result in unnecessary casualties. Surrender your planet, and your people will be treated according to Confederation subjugation protocols." Zhang's expression didn't change. "Admiral, I'll speak plainly. You have been deliberately missiled about Earth's capabilities. What you see now is merely a fraction of our defense network. I strongly advise you to withdraw while that option remains available." Anger flared within Vexcor. "You dare threaten the Confederation fleet? We have conquered civilizations far more advanced than yours. This is not a threat, Admiral. It is a final diplomatic courtesy before we are forced to demonstrate exactly why that was a mistake." The communication ended. Vexcor's fury overtook his caution. All ships, advance. Targeting priority on their lunar vessels. Show these primitives the consequence of defiance. The massive Confederation fleet surged forward, weapon systems charging, fighter squadrons launching. Their confidence remained high. After all, they had never lost an appropriation campaign in 9,000 years. From the Antarctic Command Center, Fleet Marshal Zhang watched the enemy fleets advance with resignation. "They've made their choice," she said quietly. "Activate Singularity Grid. Phase 1 weapons free." Throughout the solar system, humanity's defensive network came fully online. From the moon, from Earth's oceans, from the transformed asteroids, energy began to build, not the crude plasma or laser weapons the Confederation expected, but something far more advanced. The first shots came from Jupiter's moons. Beams of concentrated gravitational distortion, technology the Confederation had theorized, but never mastered, lanced across space. Where they touched the advancing fleet, space itself seemed to twist. 20 Confederation dreadnoughts simply ceased to exist, their matter compressed to quantum singularities that immediately dissipated in flashes of Hawking radiation. On the Indomitable, pandemonium erupted. 20 ships gone. Just gone, screamed a tactical officer. "What weapon does this?" Commander Traz demanded, genuine fear breaking through his professional demeanor. Admiral Vexcor stood frozen, watching as more gravitational beams sliced through his fleet. "All ships, evasive maneuvers. Launch all fighters. Return fire on any confirmed targets." The Confederation fleet scattered, desperately firing in all directions. Their weapons, impressive by galactic standards, splashed harmlessly against invisible barrier fields around Earth's vessels. From beneath Earth's Pacific Ocean, another weapon system activated. Quantum entanglement disruptors targeted the Confederation ships' power cores, instantly neutralizing their energy production. Hundreds of vessels went dark, drifting helplessly. "Sir, we've lost contact with the entire 3rd Division," reported a communications officer. "2nd Division reports their weapons have no effect on Earth's defenses." Vexcor's mind raced. This wasn't possible. Earth was primitive. Earth was vulnerable. Earth was supposed to fall easily. "All remaining ships, focus fire on their command centers. Launch planet cracker missiles. We'll show them the cost of resistance." The surviving Confederation vessels regrouped, launching their most devastating weapons toward Earth. Planet crackers, thermonuclear devices capable of shattering planetary crusts, streaked toward the blue world. They never arrived. From Earth's orbit, silver spheres no larger than shuttles moved to intercept. As the missiles approached, the spheres emitted pulses of energy that simply unmade them, not destroying the missiles, but erasing the very bonds holding their atoms together. Within 30 minutes of engagement, half the Confederation fleet had been neutralized. No Earth vessels had been lost. On the Indomitable's command deck, Admiral Vexcor finally confronted the unthinkable truth. "Cease fire," he ordered, voice hollow. "All ships cease fire immediately." Commander Traz stared at him in disbelief. "Admiral, we can't surrender to a Category 4 species. The Confederation has never." "Look around you, Commander." Vexcor gestured wildly at the displays showing his decimated fleet. "They are not Category 4. They are not even Category 1. They are beyond our classification system entirely." Another communication request flashed on his console. With trembling limbs, Vexcor accepted. Fleet Marshal Zhang appeared again, her expression grave but not triumphant. "Admiral," she said simply, "are you prepared to discuss terms?" Vexcor's pride warred briefly with survival instinct. "Survival 1. Yes," he managed. "What are your terms?" "Unconditional withdrawal of all remaining Confederation forces from the Sol system. You will return to the Confederation capital and deliver a message from Earth." "What message?" Zhang's eyes hardened. "That the attempted subjugation of Earth constitutes an act of war. That we now consider every species that voted for our enslavement to be hostile entities. That silent thunder has commenced. Fear curled through Vexcor's abdomen. Silent thunder. Our response to your aggression, Admiral. Earth did not want this conflict. We would have preferred peaceful relations. That option was rejected by the Confederation's vote. Zhang leaned forward slightly. You have 1 hour to collect your damaged vessels and withdraw. Any ship remaining after that time will be eliminated. The communication ended. Admiral Vexcor stood in stunned silence for several moments, then began issuing evacuation and retreat orders. As the remnants of his once proud fleet limped away from Earth, he contemplated the message he would deliver to the Confederation Council. Silent thunder. The humans had named their response, suggesting they had prepared it long ago. Prepared for this very scenario. And somewhere deep in his core, Admiral Vexcor realized a terrifying truth. This was just the beginning. In the Antarctic Command Center, Fleet Marshal Zhang watched the Confederation retreat with no satisfaction. They're running, observed her second-in-command. Zhang nodded. As expected, prepare the Phantom fleets for deployment. We move to Phase 2 in 24 hours. The Confederation will attempt to regroup, gather a larger force. Let them try, Zhang replied. By then, it will be too late. On her command display, she activated a classified protocol. Throughout Earth's solar system, advanced shipyards that had remained dormant now surged with activity. Not hundreds but thousands of vessels began final preparation sequences. Earth had revealed only a fraction of its true strength, just enough to repel the invasion. The rest would now be unleashed upon the galaxy that had so arrogantly voted for humanity's enslavement. The counterattack was about to begin. The counterstrike. The Confederation capital world of Nexus Prime had never experienced true panic. For 12,000 years, it had stood as the unassailable center of galactic power, a shining monument to the Confederation's absolute dominance. That changed the moment Admiral Vexcor's battered flagship limped into orbit. The Grand Council chamber, which had so recently hosted Earth's judgment, now overflowed with frantic representatives. The cacophony of voices, translator fields struggling to keep pace, created a storm of sound that even First Speaker Zovax's amplified commands couldn't penetrate. Finally, he resorted to an ancient ceremonial gong, its resonant boom cutting through the chaos like a physical force. Order. Zovax demanded, his compound eyes reflecting the anxious faces of hundreds of species. We will have order. The chamber gradually quieted. Admiral Vexcor stood at the center of the chamber, his once pristine uniform torn, one of his 4 arms in a medical sling. The broken commander of a broken fleet. Admiral, Zovax said, his voice carefully controlled. Explain how the most powerful appropriation fleet in Confederation history was defeated by a Category 4 species. Vexcor's mandibles clicked slowly, a sign of deep distress among his kind. First Speaker, honored representatives. Earth is not a Category 4 world. Our intelligence was catastrophically wrong. He activated a holographic display, showing footage captured during the battle. The Council watched in stunned silence as Earth's weapons unmade Confederation warships like they were children's toys. They possess technology we've only theorized, Vexcor continued. Gravitational manipulation weaponry, matter-energy phase shifting, quantum entanglement disruptors. Their vessels move at near light speed in conventional space, a feat our best engineers declared impossible. War Chief Grax of the Cronin Imperium, who had laughed at Ambassador Chen's warning, now rose with a growl. This is unacceptable. How did they conceal such capabilities from our observation? They knew we were watching. Vexcor replied simply. Every technological demonstration we observed was staged. Every military exercise, carefully choreographed. They've been preparing for our arrival for decades, perhaps longer. Elder Morov of the Arcturian technocracy tapped her gnarled fingers on her console. And what of Silent Thunder? You mentioned this in your preliminary report. The Admiral's posture stiffened. That is what they call their response to our attempted appropriation. They consider the Confederation's vote an act of war. They specifically stated that every species that voted for Earth's subjugation is now considered hostile. A cold silence fell over the chamber. Surely they cannot threaten the entire Confederation. Trade Minister Quiplick said, bioluminescent patterns flashing with agitation. One primitive world against 200 advanced civilizations. Admiral Vexcor's laugh was bitter. With respect, Minister, there is nothing primitive about Earth. What we witnessed was not their full capability. They revealed only enough to defeat our fleet. Before anyone could respond, emergency alerts flashed across every screen in the chamber. A security officer rushed to First Speaker Jovax, whispering urgently. Jovax's exoskeleton paled. We have reports of unknown vessels appearing in multiple systems. The Dranian homeworld, the Tholian mining colonies, the Cronin military headquarters at Axis Prime. All report simultaneous contact with unidentified craft of advanced configuration. War Chief Grax slammed his fist on his console. Impossible. No species can coordinate simultaneous strikes across such distances. The logistics alone. The humans, Admiral Vexcor interrupted, do not appear constrained by our understanding of logistics. As if to punctuate his statement, the chamber's lighting flickered. On the main display, a new communication request appeared. Origin, Earth Command. First Speaker Jovax hesitated, then accepted the transmission. Fleet Marshal Helena Jong appeared, seated behind a simple desk. Behind her stood several human officers, their expressions grave. Representatives of the Galactic Confederation. Jong began, her voice as calm as it had been during the battle. By now you are aware that Earth has responded to your unprovoked aggression. Operation Silent Thunder is proceeding as planned. War Chief Grax lunged forward. How dare you threaten the Confederation? We will crush your world, humans. Jong's expression didn't change. War Chief Grax of the Cronin Imperium. Your species voted unanimously for Earth's enslavement. Your military headquarters at Axis Prime is currently being neutralized by the 7th Earth Fleet. Your home defense grid has been disabled. Your leadership bunkers have been located. Grax's face contorted in shock. That's classified information. How could you possibly? We have been studying you for generations, Jean replied. While you observed our surface activities, we placed operatives throughout your societies. We mapped your weaknesses, your defense systems, your command structures. She turned her attention back to the full council. The Confederation made a critical error. You assumed technological superiority without verification. You voted to enslave a species you didn't understand. Now you will face the consequences. First Speaker Jovax stepped forward, attempting to salvage the situation. Fleet Marshal Jong, surely we can negotiate. The Confederation acknowledges Earth's true status and is prepared to offer full membership with all rights and... That opportunity existed before your vote. Jong cut him off. It no longer exists now. What are your demands? Elder Morov asked quietly. We have no demands. Silent Thunder is not a negotiation strategy. It is a response to an existential threat. You should prepare your species accordingly. The transmission ended. For several heartbeats, nobody in the council chamber moved or spoke. Then a storm of activity erupted. Representatives rushing to contact their homeworlds, military leaders barking orders into communication devices, diplomats frantically proposing response strategies. First Speaker Jovax stood alone in the center, watching as the mighty Confederation descended into panic. The Cronin military headquarters at Axis Prime was considered impregnable, constructed within a hollowed-out moon orbiting a gas giant, protected by layered defense systems and a fleet of 200 warships. It had withstood attempted infiltrations and direct assaults for over 3 centuries. It fell in 17 minutes. Captain Sarah Levinson sat in the command chair of the Earth vessel Nemesis, watching tactical displays with practiced calm. Around her, the bridge crew operated with silent efficiency, neural interfaces allowing them to communicate and coordinate without spoken words. Defense grid neutralized, reported her tactical officer. Their ships are paralyzed. Ground forces have secured the central command hub. Levinson nodded. Casualties? None on our side. 27 Cronin security personnel wounded during the initial entry. No fatalities as ordered. Well done. Begin Phase 2. Throughout the massive Cronin facility, human special forces moved like ghosts. Their powered exoskeletons, thin as fabric but stronger than any Confederation armor, augmented their natural abilities beyond recognition. Their weapons fired targeted electromagnetic pulses that incapacitated without killing. Within the central command hub, Commander Jack Harper faced the captured Cronin High Command. 12 massive, ridge-backed warriors who had never known defeat until today. Your facility is secured, Harper informed them, his translator converting his words to the guttural Cronin language. Your fleet is disabled. Your communications are under our control. The Cronin's Supreme Commander, Vorthal, stared at the human with a mixture of rage and disbelief. How? How did you penetrate our defenses so easily? Harper removed his tactical helmet, revealing a face marked with scars from previous conflicts. We've had operatives in your facility for 7 years. Your defense codes were compromised long ago. Vorthal's eyes widened. Impossible. All personnel undergo genetic verification. No non-Cronin cold. Your genetic verification system has a flaw in its quantum signature detection algorithm, Harper interrupted. We exploited it, just as we exploited weaknesses in every species that voted to enslave Earth. He activated a holographic display showing similar operations occurring simultaneously across Confederation space. The Tholian mining colonies, the Dravid Coalition military academies, the Voss Dominion Royal Palace, all falling to precise, overwhelming human strikes. What do you want? Vorthal finally asked, his warrior's pride crumbling before the evidence of such complete defeat. For now, information. Harper gestured, and his team began accessing the Cronin classified databases. Everything your species knows about Confederation defense protocols, command structures, and contingency plans. You're going to attack the Confederation capital, Vorthal realized. Harper's expression remained neutral. The Confederation voted to destroy our civilization. We are responding appropriately. Across the galaxy, similar scenes played out with devastating efficiency. Earth had deployed not 1 but 7 specialized fleets, each targeting specific Confederation power centers. The Phantom Fleet specifically targeted military installations, neutralizing them with minimal casualties, but maximum psychological impact. The Shadow Fleet focused on communication hubs, isolating Confederation worlds from each other and preventing coordinated response. The Quantum Fleet dismantled transportation networks, destroying hyperspace nodes and stranding Confederation forces. Each operation executed with surgical precision, demonstrating not just technological superiority, but strategic brilliance. On Earth, in a secure conference room beneath the Rocky Mountains, the Human Defense Council convened to assess Silent Thunder's progress. All primary targets neutralized, reported Admiral James Chen, Ambassador Chen's brother and head of Earth's naval operations. Phantom, Shadow, and Quantum fleets report complete mission success. Confederation forces are in disarray. President Eliana Okafor, who had authorized the operation after decades of preparation, nodded gravely. Casualties. Minimal on both sides, Madam President. Our forces are operating under strict non-lethal protocols unless directly threatened. 97% of operations achieved objectives without any loss of life. Defense Minister Omar Khalid, architect of Earth's hidden military buildup, studied the holographic war map. The Confederation is attempting to regroup at these 5 locations. He indicated glowing points on the display. Their most powerful remaining forces are consolidating for a counteroffensive. Let them, said Fleet Marshal Zhang, joining remotely from her command center. Every move they make is anticipated. Every defense they mount has already been compromised. President Okafor rose, pacing the length of the table. We've demonstrated our capabilities. Perhaps now is the time to open diplomatic channels. Present our terms. A thoughtful silence fell over the group. With respect, Madam President, Admiral Chen finally said, the Confederation needs to understand that their old paradigm is gone forever. If we negotiate too soon, they'll interpret it as weakness, an opportunity to regroup and try again. Minister Khalid nodded in agreement. Our intelligence indicates that several Confederation species are already developing new weapons they believe might counter our technology. The Drendian Empire has activated their doomsday protocols. President Okafor stopped pacing. Doomsday protocols. They would rather destroy themselves than accept defeat. Pride. Fleet Marshal Zhang said simply. For 12,000 years, they'd been the undisputed masters of known space. Some would prefer annihilation to submission. The president considered this. Then we must show them that we seek neither their destruction nor their submission. Operation Silent Thunder was designed as a defensive response, not a campaign of conquest. Phase 3 will make that clear, Admiral Chen assured her. But first, we must eliminate any capacity for them to threaten Earth again. The next 24 hours are critical. President Okafor nodded reluctantly. Proceed with Phase 3 as planned. But remember, we are showing them the consequences of their actions, not becoming the very thing we're fighting against. On the Drendian homeworld of Korath Prime, Supreme Warlord Krugnar stood in his war chamber, watching as reports of defeat poured in from across Confederation space. Impossible, he muttered, smashing a tactical display with his armored fist. We cannot be defeated by a single species. His chief scientist, Meklor, approached cautiously. Supreme Warlord, we have analyzed debris from the Earth vessels destroyed in the battle for Axis Prime. Krugnar spun around. You found a weakness. No, Warlord. We don't know what we found. Meklor's voice trembled. The technology is beyond our comprehension. Their power sources operate on principles we haven't even theorized. Their material composition includes elements that shouldn't exist. The warlord's expression darkened. What are you saying, scientist? I'm saying that humans aren't just more advanced than we believed. They possess technology that may not have originated on Earth at all. Before Krugnar could respond, alarms blared throughout the chamber. Outside, the sky above the Drendian capital darkened as hundreds of Earth vessels emerged from what appeared to be tears in reality itself. The Supreme Warlord watched with a warrior's grim understanding. He had voted for Earth's enslavement. He had mocked their ambassador's warning. Now he would face the consequences of that arrogance. As the first precision strikes disabled Korath Prime's planetary defense grid, Krugnar did something no Drendian warlord had done in 10,000 years. He prepared to surrender. Aboard the Earth Command vessel Retribution, Field Commander Maya Desai received the Drendian surrender transmission with measured satisfaction. Inform Fleet Marshal Zhang, she ordered her communications officer. The Drendian Empire has capitulated. All primary objectives achieved. She turned to her tactical display, watching as Earth forces systematically neutralized the last pockets of resistance throughout Confederation space. Not destroying, not conquering, but meticulously dismantling the military infrastructure that had threatened their world. Somewhere in the back of her mind, an old Earth saying resonated. We didn't start this fight, but by God, we're going to finish it. Phase 3 would begin at dawn.